Hey everybody, Icy Cat here. Whether you're on offense or defense, some of the best ways to get the drop on an unsuspecting enemy is with a cleverly placed murder hole. But in this new map, what are the lines of sight you need to create those situations? Let's talk about it next. We've got a bunch of different possibilities we can make for murder holes, so let's start with this one. Right away when you come through the front door, you're going to be given a choice of directions to go, and this is a really good spot to get somebody right off the bat as they come in the structure. Of course, there are a few other approaches. You can come through this window, or maybe this other window over here. That will put you in the same room as this one, though. But let's take a look at a few things that we can do. So let's come back over to the central hallway here with stairs. Come upstairs, and around this corner we've got a window. This window, directly below this window, is where our other door is. And if we go ahead and just open this up, there we go. As a defender, if you want to stop an attacker making a push through that front door, this is a really good angle to do that from. You also have a few other alternatives, though. You could come over and hit this trap door if it will let me hit it. There we go. And you could be over here and just kind of watching them as they come in there. That's one thing you could do. There is also that window that was over there that I was telling you about before. So if you wanted to keep an eye on that, that's directly below. So this door, this funny object called a door that the terrorists don't know how to use, they rip them down and put up another piece of wood. I don't know why. Barricades. Anyway, so it's right below there, and that's where you'll find that window. We have some other options, though, for keeping an eye on that section. We could come into this side. It's called the coat room, and you could be waiting for them as they make the push there. And from this vantage point, you could actually set up like a variety of peaks, more or less. So you could keep an eye on this window if they came through here, or you could respond to this door or that further window from the same position relatively easily. And even if they came from deeper in, there's another window on the other side of this bookshelf, and they could also come in from back here. So you could watch a variety of positions from this one spot. Another way to keep an eye on this door is if we were to come back to this green wall. This is in the Archway Hall over by the fireplace, and you can just go ahead and make some holes here, and then you've got yourself set up. You can watch that front door. You can also turn and respond to this window right from here. So door, window, and depending on whichever one that is that they're going to hit, you can do a rapid response to either one of those. Let's go over here back into the corner. This is the lower library. Let's just come back out here for a second. As you're approaching the front building, you've got a lot of windows that are shuttered. You can't go in. So there's only so many you can do. The ones on the side here, I mean, these are all shuttered up. And so we're just focusing on the ground floor entrances right now. So you could come through this window, and this puts us into that library that we were just in a second ago. So that puts us into the lobby. This one puts us into the library. So let's go in here. If we were to take this approach, we have a few things we can do. You could set up through here, and you can't make a hole in this one per se, but you can. The bullets will actually go through it. So if you set up like how I have this angle here, and I can see the open window, when the window breaks, I can just blind fire through it, and if you're lucky, you can get a kill that way. But you can also do a few other things. You can. Actually, let's keep it on this one. I kind of like to set up like little murder holes on these lines because from a distance, they're a little hard to make out. And you could keep a line on that window that's on the other side right through there and, keep tabs on it. Or you could just do something a little less subtle and, keep a watch on it there. But if you wanted to, you could also come up top. And we have a few options that we can do. So in this room, this window here parallels the one below it. The beams, though, kind of run vertically this way. So what you would want to do if you want to keep an eye on that, keep yourself a little safe from that window at the same time, like, so you're not like directly in front of it, is just come off to the side here. And then you can keep an eye on that You could even come back a little bit more, keep yourself a little safer yet. Give yourself some space to work with here. And then if they come through that window, you can deal with them. And then if they come through this one, you're somewhat safe from this spot. Another one you could do is there's a trap door right here. And took some of the floor with me. And you can watch them if they come through and drop down. Though you're a lot more open to this window in that case. If you are watching this one, you can kind of do the same thing. You see I broke the glass on the other side of that when I shot through. But, again, you can just watch. And then when the wood breaks, fire through it. They won't see you, but you'll know they're there. Provided that they're in the middle anyway and not just peeking the corner. But that's one thing that you could do on that spot. And again, same thing as what we had before, right? So you could make a hole and, watch that window. Another one that you can do is there's this one on the side. And if you ran up to the side of the building and an attacker made an approach through this window, if for any reason you wanted to watch that, you could just make a hole here. And then if they shot through the window, you could drop them as they land. But that's also right back there is the top of the stair landing from the piano room. So you can watch this. I'm sorry, not the piano room, the library. So if they come up the library stairs, you can get them right as they come up the top. That's another little spot you can peek from. Okay, let's go back into the corner here. We've got another window. If they're coming from the courtyard spawn, this is a window that they could come through. And you could sit up here for many of these positions. You could keep an eye on that. It's certainly a very valid thing you can do. If you want to remain a little bit more hidden, you can just come up here and then watch the window on this angle and then get them as they come in. You do have this other window to be worried about. The one thing about these windows is they're almost always in the same orientation between the top and the bottom floor. So, just be worried about that. If you're going to watch one, then be aware that they could come through on the other one. But, if your objective is on the ground floor, they're probably going to come through the ground floor one and things like that. And, of course, this works the other way around too, right? So if you think that they're going to try to push through that window, then you can just be ready for them when they land and then hit them from below. And that's certainly an approach you can also take. So let's take a look at a few other things. So we've got this window here. This is another popular one to come through. So we've got the front door that was over here. And so this is where we made the murder hole in the coat room. And we could watch this window. We also have another window right there that can be breached as well. So we have a few options here. One is we've got a trapdoor directly above. I'll show you that one in a second. But one of the ones besides this coat room one, you could come back here and see right on this wall, we can make a hole like that. And then keep an eye on that window. And this is not real obvious from all the way back here when you first breach in. I mean, it's there, sure, but when you're coming in quick, it's real easy to miss that. Let's take a look, though, at some of our other options. So I was talking about that trapdoor a second ago, so let's just come around here. We're going to go into the front office, and this trapdoor right here will overlook that window perfectly. So if you think they're going to come through, this is a really great spot to watch that from. Or if you wanted to, you could make a hole a little further back. And of course you're going to do that. And you could watch it from a little bit steeper of an angle, maybe back here, whatever. If you wanted to do that, you could. There's a second trapdoor that also goes into that room, and this is in the second floor model hall. And if you pop this one open, come on, there we go. You can actually keep an eye on both these windows at once. So here's that other window I was talking about before. So if they hop through there, you can see them. And then this is that window that we were just talking about with the other trapdoor. So from this position, you can actually watch both of these angles fairly effectively. Okay, so over in the piano room here, we have another entryway. This is a real popular one because this is one of the first windows you'll hit if you start at the main gate spawn. The main gate spawn is literally on the other side of this tree, on the other side of that wall there. And so if you run right up to the structure, this is one of the first windows you will hit. And so if they're going to come through here, you can do a couple of things to be ready for them. One is you can come back into the kitchen here. We've got this this wall here in the corner, and if we just make a hole there, we've got a really good angle on that if we want to keep an eye on that breach attempt. Another thing that we can do, though, is we've got these stairs here, and I talked about this in my other video that we talked about the trapdoor positions. There's a little bit of overlap here with the trapdoors and the murder holes. But so directly below this window is where that window is we were just talking about. This floor, for some reason, glitches out. Like, you cannot shoot through this wooden part of the floor. However, if you were to come into another room with the same wooden floor, it works just fine. So there's something glitched in this room where you can't quite get through. It extends to this entire floor panel. It's really weird. It shouldn't happen. I'm sure it'll be fixed eventually, but for right now, it's busted. And the best way to keep an eye on that is actually, if you pop this trapdoor, then you can see that window from this angle. You can even get down low and maybe get a little bit better line on it. So that's the way that you can kind of respond to that window. And then if you needed to, you could also turn and engage this side entrance as well. But be careful of this window that's over here. So another one you can do is right here against this wall. So we're right next to the bookshelf here. You can make a hole here. You'll catch anybody that runs up these steps, as well as that window that I was saying to be careful for. They could come through there, and then you'll be ready. And then if you hear the wood break behind you, you can turn, and you're protected on the back side as long as you respond quickly, but then there's that window that they come through on that end. Another thing that you can do with these bookshelves that's kind of neat, these bookshelves, they're different from furniture in other levels in the game where, you know, they're kind of indestructible. You can actually go ahead and shoot through these and make little murder holes. And then when they come through, you know, you might be able to get a quick drop on somebody that way. You can also do this with other pieces of furniture and create little areas to get lines of sight so that if somebody's running by quickly, they might not expect to see you there. You know, there's all kinds of little ways to use this to your advantage. That's a really big one. You could make that smaller with like some machine gun fire or even a melee hit. But, you know, again, you're just knocking holes in furniture to go ahead and create some lines of sight that they may not otherwise be expecting. There's a few different places you can do it. In fact, there's a really great one on these back stairs. Let me run over here as I get a little turned around. Okay, through here. So this is the upper library, and this looks like a wall when you approach it from this side, but this is actually just one of these same bookshelves I was just talking about. So you can go ahead and create a little line of sight here, and then if somebody runs through there, you're going to be able to pop them, and it's kind of like a little hole in the wall that, you know, if they round this corner quickly, if you shoot before they can react, you'll get the drop on that. Another thing you can do up here is, so say we have an objective that's maybe, you know, like right now we have a hostage that's down here in the lower library and we're in the upper library. So if we want to keep an eye on things happening in the room, you know, maybe we're worried about them coming through here. Well, like I said, there's that window that we could watch earlier, and we keep an eye on that. But maybe we just want to keep an eye on the room and not so much the window. So if you come to the base of this bookshelf here and make a little murder hole, if they try to come through the door, you will have the drop on them from above here pretty effectively. We'll just come up here, and where we have the wood, the only problem with this one is that you're a little bit more exposed. You know, like if they come from the forward section here, you'll be kind of ready to catch them, so maybe you'll want to board up that door first to give yourself just that little bit of extra warning time. But if they try to come into the library through that way, you'll be able to take them out pretty quickly. Another thing that you might want to do is go ahead and pop a couple of these open, because if something happens down there and you need to react and drop down, you won't take any damage. But if you have to vault that railing first, then you will take damage. So just a heads up on that. Also, if you want to repel any attackers from this room, you can make holes in pretty much any of these walls, to keep an eye on your angles here as they come in. Um, this one will allow you to see this window in the forward reading room section. So if they came through there, just get the drop on them pretty easily. Um, you can also sort of do the same thing we were doing earlier with the furniture. There we go, and get some angles here. Maybe even a steeper angle might work more effectively. That way you're not completely exposed in front of them when they punch through. But then you're turning your back to this, so just be aware of that. So we were talking about these desks before too. So you can do all kinds of things with these. Crawl underneath one, and then just get an angle on the door. Very sneaky. They probably will not be expecting that. Or you could do the same thing for the window if you wanted to watch that one. You could do that. Wherever you see these kinds of desks, you can do that. It doesn't work so well with these. They don't really break apart. You can just break off sort of the front panels only. But you can get a few good kill spots on some of those sorts of things. You can also come in here and watch some of these angles or just whatever you want. Let's come back into the kitchen here. So sometimes we have an objective in here. Fortunately, this roof is it's like concrete and you can't punch through it. So there's not much you can do on that angle. It's a little harder to get some of these reverse kill holes going on. In fact, let me just kind of show you what that looks like. So if we come up here, you can't punch through that. It's too solid. There's not much that you can do to get those angles. So we've got the trophy rooms up here. Sometimes you will have guys punch through, like maybe this window here. So this is a good one where you could, again, use that destruction to your advantage, shoot through the back of the bookcase, and then as soon as they hop through that window right there, you're ready and waiting. And you can do this on any of these, although these other windows are shuttered, so you don't have to worry about it too much. But, sometimes there's an objective in this room, so you could do it on that window, or, you could also do it here, and then you will be able to watch this door. So as they come around the corner here, you can get them. And the nice thing is the trophies sort of hide the hole for you to a certain extent. So it's really easy to miss that as you come around the corner. This area isn't really an objective point, but it's a high traffic area. So this is the top of the fireplace stairs here. And if we come through the front office, having a murder hole set up right here so that as they round this corner, it can be pretty effective. Also because you've got an entry window here and you've got an entry window here. So this will allow you to sort of keep an eye on what's going on the other side. So if we just, pre-make a hole, then we can respond to them as they come through that window, or you can't see it, but it's like right there on the other side of that wall. You could make a second murder hole if you wanted to, or you could just wait until they come around. Or if they just come charging through the door, you'll kind of be ready. This is a high traffic area, depending on where the objective might be. So opposite the model sculpture here, if we came right into the corner, the other side of this wall is the stairs that kind of fold back on themselves. And if you wanted to, you could sort of be ready for them if they come up through the dining room area or off the fireplace area. And then when they come up the stairs, you can kind of, get an angle on them. Of course, you can make this as big as you want it to be able to respond. You could also make it a little lower and then maybe shoot them before they even get to the stairs. Just, whatever you want to do with that angle and however you want to work it. So just to kind of show you, if like you were coming up these stairs, maybe you came through any of these back windows here, and the first thing you want to do is go up these stairs. Well, you could have been, shot coming up here, especially if you're coming through, in this area at all. And then as you come around right there, I mean, you can easily get shot from that position. In the lower library, we have another variation on, so we earlier had made the hole over here in the wall to look at that front door, but you could also kind of do something where you make a hole through two walls, and then you get a similar vantage point. You can engage that door. You can no longer really respond to that window, but you can engage this door, and then you're a little bit more protected with what's going on. Like, they won't come through this window and see you right in front of them, although it's still not hard for them to come around the side and get you, but this is just one more vantage point that you can sort of use to engage them as they make that initial push through. So that wraps up this section where we talk about the different murder holes that you can make in the new map, Bartlett University. As always, there's no way that a video is going to be comprehensive of every possible kind of combination of angles and holes that you can make to watch over certain areas or entry points. It's really only limited by your creativity. Now, as always, if you want to stay up to date on all the latest news, tips, tricks, reviews, and more for Rainbow Six Siege, then please like and subscribe. You can also follow me over at IcyCat25 on either Facebook or Twitter. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.